Hello, my name is Wesley Fryer, and for the past 2 years I have worked for a Fortune 9 telecommunications company here in the United States, and I would like to visit today with you about some of the things that I have observed which are critical job skills that we need individuals to have as they move out of the educational arena into the workforce arena. And I have to preface these comments by saying that my opinions and ideas do not reflect the official positions of the company which I have been working for, but definitely do represent my own opinions and viewpoint as I have been out here in the world of work, doing telecommunications work and working on a multi-state team that supports both individuals in sales and marketing and public relations and a lot of different varieties of the telecommunications business. We hear a great deal of discussion today about 21st century skills and the skills which students need not only to survive and do well in the workforce, but also to do well in the society in which we live. And I am of the mind and the viewpoint that not only do students need traditional literacy skills, because we also hear rhetoric about that, how we need to be focused on basics, but we must be focused on new kinds of skills and new kinds of behaviors that we didn't see in the traditional classroom. And these really come down to three basic things, I think. We need students to be regularly creating, regularly communicating, and regularly collaborating. When we look outside of our traditional K-12 classrooms and even our university classrooms, today we see a wide variety of technology uses, not only in the ways that we're consuming media and technology through television and through the internet, through our mobile devices, the text messages that we exchange, the cell phone calls that we exchange. We also see that business has moved in dramatic ways to embrace these kinds of technologies. And in many cases, in fact the vast majority of cases, schools have not. Schools are continuing to reinforce and teach in a way that we would have recognized in the 19th century. If we're going to get our students to create and to communicate and collaborate on a regular basis, not only do we have to have these tools in the hands of students, we need students to have laptops. In fact, if you'll go get the EXO laptop that we have over here, one of the most exciting things that we have happening in a lot of schools today are one-to-one technology initiatives, where every student and every teacher is being provided with a laptop computer. And my son is bringing over to me an EXO laptop, which was created by MIT in the project that's called OLPC, or the One Laptop Per Child. And you know, this computer, which when I obtained this was down to about $135 each, it's exciting to think about being in the hands of every student. But what are we going to do with this? Well, let me tell you a couple stories, perhaps personal stories, that will maybe dramatize the importance and need of these skills of communicating, of creating, and collaborating. In the 19th century, we didn't really have students doing that on a regular basis, those kinds of activities. We delivered the content as teachers. I don't have a book here right by me, but I guess I can grab one. You know, whatever the book was, I mean, the book was the content, and the content was in the head of the teacher. The content was only accessible if we could read it in the text or we could get it from the teacher. But we live in a radically different day today. And I have been working on a team of primarily 8 different education advocates that have been distributed over a 5-state area. And over the time that I've been with our company, we have gone national to support 21 different states and support sales and marketing and public relations teams that are all over the United States. In that kind of environment, it's been very important for me to be able to work autonomously and independently, to have deadlines for things that I needed to accomplish, but to be able to meet with people over distance when we were not in the same time and the same place. So I've had more meetings over my phone since I've worked for this company than I ever had previously when I was in the Air Force and when I was a school teacher for a number of years and then a staff member at a college of education. It's critical that we help students develop these kinds of skills, because as they move out into the workforce, this is going to be the expectation. It's not going to just be you go to class and you sit there for X number of hours to learn. businesses are expecting that students can get their learning online. We have a learning management system for our company, and there are deadlines, and we have to have different kinds of training by certain times. And we certify that we've understood and we've completed those activities. In many cases, we have quizzes and things that we have to do. But more often than not, when we meet and we visit with folks, we are working on a project and we have a specific task that we have to accomplish. As an example, there was a task force that I was asked to head up on the subject of network neutrality, which is a very controversial issue. And as an advocate team, we needed to become more aware of that issue, what was involved, and what kinds of things we could be at liberty to say or not say about that issue. And we produced some documents that we then submitted to others. Specific products that we were creating as individuals. So our role as employees of the company was not simply to hear and listen and regurgitate back word for word, but it was to get into the higher order thinking skills of synthesizing ideas and information from a variety of different sources, evaluating those kinds of things, applying that to the context that we're in education, as well as a broader context, and then eventually creating a specific document of ideas and recommendations. And so, in a nutshell, that is what many of our students are not doing in school today, and we need to be doing. I'd like to tell another story specific to 21st century skills and exhort us to stop abusing technology. I wanted to share a few ideas with you, and so I've chosen to share that as a video that I can put on a DVD and I can post to YouTube, and I'll be able to play, and other people can play at their leisure when they want to start it, when they want to stop it. And this is called an asynchronous technology. You're not watching me share this, right now. You're able to do it at whatever time and place that you want. And one of the sad things that I've observed happening a lot in our schools, but it's also happening in our businesses a lot, is that people abuse technology. And when I talk about abusing technology, I'm saying people are using a synchronous and interactive technology like the phone in a synchronous and non-interactive way. In other words, I was on a phone call just about 2 weeks ago that lasted an hour and a half. And we had over 60 people on this phone conversation, and we were listening to about 4 or 5 different individuals, share information one way. At the very end of this phone call, we had some questions and a very brief time for question and answer. And it started to be, I think, a very important dialogue, and that got cut off and stopped. That was an example of technology abuse. We need to choose to use technologies in powerful ways. Yes, in many cases to lecture, but we need to chunk our information in shorter pieces, and we need to give learners and respect learners by giving them the opportunity to control that. When I want to see a video here on my iPhone, I have the opportunity to go ahead and play it, and then I can pause it, right? I can choose when I want to start it and stop it. I can rewind it. I can hear it over and over again. This is a powerful technology. And of course, these technologies need to be in the hands of all of our students. Today, in 2008, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, every single student needs to have their own laptop in our classrooms. And I would say beginning in the 3rd grade. You could even go, at lower levels than that, but this isn't something that we just need to wait to high school. And we're seeing Intel with its Classmate PC and HP and other companies bring to market laptops that are around $100. We're seeing some in the $200 to $300 range. The fact is, it is fiscally critical in schools today that we embrace digital curriculum and that we provide learners with the tools that are going to let them create, collaborate, and communicate on a regular basis. I guess the last thing that I would leave you with is just an exhortation to get involved in your local community with the movement to embrace 21st century skills. One organization which is doing that is the Partnership for 21st Century Skills. We need to be having conversations in each and every community of the United States and each and every community of this world about what it means to learn and the kinds of skills that we need to have to succeed in the 21st century. It's a real challenge to think beyond our own experience, because probably the vast majority of people watching this video have been schooled in the 20th century. We were schooled in the time where we came to a place at a specific time, and that's when learning occurred. But today, with technology, that increasingly does not have to be the case, especially with mobile technologies. And yes, we should be using the cell phone for learning in classrooms. We shouldn't just be banning them. Out in the real world, outside of schools, we help people and we encourage them to use their technology appropriately. We talk about digital citizenship, and when someone's giving a presentation, we silence our phone, we put it away, and we get it out when it's appropriate. Every single week in our classrooms, we need the teachers and the students there to be collaborating with others outside the traditional walls of the school. That could be a classroom across town, that could be a classroom across the state, it could be across the nation or across the globe. But unfortunately, we see very few classrooms, in my experience, and as a statewide advocate for a telecommunications company and someone who's been fortunate now to travel not only around the United States, but even outside of our country, going to China this past fall, it shocks me and upsets me to see how little we are utilizing the potential of these tools. And it's natural for teachers to use these tools in replacement ways or accommodating ways to do what has been done before. But as Marco Torres has said, if we are just asking students to read pages 1 through 20 and just asking them to answer questions 1 through 10, we are wasting taxpayer dollars with the technology we buy, and we are cheating students out of the education that they not only deserve, but they need to be successful in the 21st century. So, I encourage you in your local community to be a catalyst for these conversations. I encourage you to find creative ways to engage the leaders in your community, the school board members, the superintendent, the principals. Talk with PTAs, talk with groups who are passionate about learning for students, and help catalyze conversations that say, the pencil, the pen, the paper that we had in the past, those tools are not sufficient. We need to have the tools of the 21st century, and yes, that includes laptops for students. Yes, that includes cell phones and other mobile devices that let us access audio and video wherever and whenever we happen to be. These need to be in the hands of our students. And equally as critical, we need to help our teachers and our administrative leaders understand the ways that these tools can be used appropriately to stop technology abuse and to help learners of all ages utilize these technologies as effectively as they can. Not to simply talk at people all the time and to have, hours and hours of unending lecture. Chunk our information, summarize that information, share that with audio, with video, with animations. Visual imagery is so powerful, and I have a broadband connection to my eyeball. I have a dial-up connection between my brain and my ear. And so if the only thing you're doing is speaking at me and using that lecture, you're not using video and you're not using images and you're not using the tools at our fingertips, I think we need to ask ourselves whether you're really trying to do all you can to help me learn as a student and to help me acquire the skills that I need as a 21st century citizen of the world. So I'll include here at the bottom a link to my blog, which is Moving at the Speed of Creativity. It's just speedofcreativity.org. And I would also exhort and encourage you to visit the website for the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, which is 21stcenturyskills.org. And lastly, tell you that the K-12 online conference, which is a free website and conference that takes place in the fall each year, is a great opportunity for teachers of all content areas and levels to come together and learn about the ways that many of these technologies can be used in safe and powerful ways to help students improve their learning. Thanks very much for listening. One of the things that I have